What if everything you thought you knew about the Gita wasn't quite the whole truth? It's more than just philosophy, more than a spiritual text. What most people don't know is this: there's a deep and powerful link between yoga and the Bhagavad Gita, one that's been hidden in plain sight. This isn't just another commentary, this is a revelation. Guided by Brahmarishi K.S. Nityananda Swamiji, on this channel, we're rediscovering the Gita's original form, pure, untouched, and rooted in the Vedas. Let's begin our journey of yogic evolution. This is Bharat, the land of yoga and Gita. These two gifts from Bharat have shaped inner journeys all over the world. The Bhagavad Gita is probably one of the most interpreted texts, and it has so many dimensions. We look at it as philosophical or even as spiritual, as psychological. It talks about how to engage with the world, how to manage emotions. It even offers a path of bhakti, of devotion. The Gita's influence and relevance just keeps growing. Its teachings are finding its way more and more into our everyday lives. And just like the Gita, yoga is another gift from Bharat. Today, it's seen as a holistic approach to health, covers aspects of physical, mental, and spiritual being. With events like International Yoga Day celebrated every year, yoga is quickly becoming one of the most widely adopted practices worldwide. So, the question is this: with both being so popular and with so much content already out there, why start another channel on the Gita? Because through this channel, we're going to dive into dimensions of the Gita that very few have explored. So, we're very glad you're here. On this channel, we're exploring the Bhagavad Gita together, diving into the deeper layers of meaning behind them. Through videos, podcasts, and discussions, we'll explore your questions and connect these teachings to everyday life. That's the core purpose and intent of this channel. We'll begin with a shloka that beautifully captures the essence of the Gita and shows us how its teachings are structured.
Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Asatoma Sadgamaya, the movement from untruth to truth. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, the movement from tamas to sattva. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya, the movement from death to immortality. This is what Gita is all about, a journey from falsehoods to the truth. This is its essence. We'll explore each of these terms in detail later, but for now, let's keep this as our starting point. Guiding this channel is Brahmarishi K.S. Nityananda Swamiji, a yogi whose work spans decades. He founded Veda Vijnana Mandira, an institution that's committed to preserving and sharing Vedic knowledge. He has also authored multiple books in Kannada on Tantra, Yagas, and Yajnas. One of his most profound efforts is in restoring the original Vyasa Mahabharata. And as part of this initiative, Swamiji interprets the Bhagavad Gita to reveal its original form in its authentic sequence, untouched and unaltered. Now let's address the obvious question. What do we mean by original form and original sequence? You see, Vedic Puranas, Shastras, and our cultural texts have gone through many changes over time. And it's because of multiple factors like historic invasions, political agendas, and religious influences. Now, as a result, many of these existing scriptures are actually diluted versions of their originals, And the Bhagavad Gita is no exception to this. Most existing commentaries are built on these altered versions, and this creates limitations in understanding the true essence of the Gita. So, with so many challenges, how did the original sequence of the Gita come to light? It's from the Vedas. The Vedas form the foundation of every Bharatiya scripture, including the Gita. Around 162 mantras from the Rig Veda form its very roots. So, to reconstruct the original Gita, Swamiji went back to these mantras from the Rig Veda to reveal Gita's authentic essence. Now, before we dive into what the Gita truly says, let's take a moment to talk about something very important. Over time, certain interpretations and statements about the Gita have become so mainstream, so widely accepted, and repeated so often that they have become the foundation of our current understanding. Everything we know about the Gita is based on this understanding. But here's the thing. If we really want to uncover the Gita's original essence, we have to be willing to question everything about it. So we need to approach this with a fresh and open mind, a mind that is free from all existing frameworks and assumptions that we've grown up with. What we share on this channel might sometimes feel like it's going against the norm, or even challenging the basics of what you've believed. And that's okay. We're not asking you to immediately accept anything that is said as truth. In fact, this isn't about belief at all. It's just about staying curious, questioning deeply, and being open to perspectives you may not have considered before. Every concept we introduce will connect to a bigger picture as we go along. Some of it might not make sense right away, but we ask that you stay with it. As we move through different chapters and discussions, these dots will start connecting. And when they do, the clarity you gain might completely change how you experience the Gita. For those of you who've studied the Gita in depth, some of this might feel uncomfortable, maybe even a bit shocking at first. But that's the nature of change. It shakes us a little before it settles in. Because to receive something new, we must first create space by letting go of the old. And with that, we're ready to begin. Let's start from the root. At the beginning and end of every chapter in a scripture, there's usually a verse that's there to set the context. The Bhagavad Gita has a verse like this too. Let's take a look at it. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishadssu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. There are two important parts in this verse that we need to understand deeply, because once we do, two big misconceptions about the Gita become clear. Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishadssu. This means that the Bhagavad Gita is on par with the Upanishad. One of the biggest misconceptions is that the Gita is just a summary of the Upanishad. But this verse, repeated at the start and end of every chapter, clearly tells us that the Gita is on par with the Upanishads. It's not a summary of it. Let's understand why that matters. What exactly is an Upanishad? There are 4 Vedas. Each Veda is divided into 4 parts. The first part is Samhita. It's a collection of mantras. Across the 4 Vedas, there are about 35,000 mantras. Part 2 and Part 3 of the Vedas are Brahmana and Aranyaka. These 2 parts explain the uses of the mantras, like how they are applied in yagas, yajnas, pujas and homas. Part 4 is the Upanishad. Upanishad is the experiential explanation of one mantra from the Samhita. There are about 1,000 Upanishads, of which 108 are known widely. Each of these Upanishads elaborates on one mantra from the Vedas. Now, here's the key point. Upanishads are experiential explanations. They are the result of someone's inner pursuit of truth. Someone, or sometimes a group of rishis, went deep into a mantra, meditated on it, lived it, experienced it, and that insight became the shlokas of the Upanishad. Then, to explain these shlokas further, scholars have written commentaries on it. That's also known as Vyakhyana. So essentially what we're saying is an Upanishad is someone's or a collective's experience of truth. And that experience makes every Upanishad unique. These experiences are distinct and they simply cannot be summarized. So saying that the Gita is a summary of the Upanishad is inaccurate. The Gita is a complete and independent scripture with its root in the Vedas. In fact, it's a text that's so powerful that God Himself praises it. Contrary to popular belief, the Gita is not Krishna's teaching. It's Krishna's discovery and it's Krishna's praise. The word Bhagavad Gita literally means that which is praised by God. Krishna says that Gita showed him the path. He experienced its truth and then he shares it for the benefit of all humanity. The second part to be understood is the term Yoga Shastra. Understanding this term will clear another common misconception, that the mention of yoga in the Bhagavad Gita is merely a symbolic reference. So let's break this down. The verse at the beginning and end of every chapter ends with the word Yoga Shastra. The Gita is repeatedly calling itself a Yoga Shastra. What is a Shastra? Shastra means something that is very detailed, something that is comprehensive, it's complete. Our rishis have taken the principle of the Vedas, deeply analyzed them, and agreed on how it can be put to practical use, how to operationalize it. This operationalization of the Vedic principles is Shastra. A Shastra can be considered as the final word on that subject. So, Gita is calling itself the Yoga Shastra, the final word on yoga. Also, every single chapter title of the Gita ends with the word yoga, like Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Karma Sannyasa Yoga. These are some of the chapter titles. So there are two things to note. One, that the verse at the beginning and end of every chapter ends with the word Yoga Shastra. And two, every chapter title also ends with the word yoga. So there's a very intricate relationship between Gita and yoga. What is this intricate relationship? Yoga is not the same as asana. Yoga is much larger than that. But asana is part of yoga. Asana has a physical posture. It's the physical embodiment of a principle. The Gita is calling itself a Yoga Shastra, meaning a comprehensive guide on yoga. This includes asana. It's not limited to asana. In fact, every chapter of the Gita, each of the 18 chapters of Gita ends with an asana. This asana expresses the principle of that chapter in the physical posture. This is the reason why every chapter of the Gita ends with a mention of yoga. Gita is a comprehensive guide covering both the principle and physical posture for yogic evolution. Most of us would have heard of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras as the guide for yoga. A sutra is concise, 8 letters or so, and it needs layers of understanding. In comparison, Gita is comprehensive, and so it's the complete guide. This is why Sri Krishna is also called Yogeshwara, the one who mastered yoga. Gita is his praise of yoga. We've unpacked a lot in this video. Let's take a moment to recap. Gita is a journey from falsehood to truth. It's not a summary of the Upanishads. It's a scripture that's rooted in the Vedas that Sri Krishna himself praises. Most importantly, the Gita is a Yoga Shastra, the final word on yoga. It's not just philosophical, but deeply practical. It brings together the principles of the Vedas and translates them into action through yoga. Through this channel, we're peeling back the layers of the Gita to reveal its original form, meaning, and application. This video was all about setting the context and clearing a few common misconceptions. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you're notified as soon as the next video is live. In the next video, we'll explore how yoga and Gita are truly interlinked and what that actually means. Through the lens of Sri Krishna's life, we'll see why he's called the Yogeshwara and how he lived as a yogi. We'll also ask what truly makes someone a yogi and how many of us are already practicing yogic asanas in daily life without even realizing it. The Gita often repeats the phrase Bhagavanu Vacha, but what does it really signify? Who or what is the Bhagavan it refers to? The answers to this might shift how you see the yoga and Gita. This is just the beginning, and there is so much more to discover.